It is exactly 9:54 news and views on Salam Media, and we do have on standby Hlobisile Bathabile Yende, and she is very intent on putting women farmers on the path to success. She herself is a third generation farmer, and she is only 28 years old. A very good morning to you, Hlobisile. Welcome to the program. Nice to be talking with you.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. It's an honor to be invited to the show.
Thank you indeed. I'm so sorry we couldn't connect up with you earlier because we've lost some valuable time in talking with you this morning. But let's see how far we can get with the conversation. I understand that not only are you running a successful farm, you have a degree in criminology and psychology, and you've written a children's book which is in publication currently. You've now opened up your life and your home to help other women farmers realize their dreams. Talk to us about this amazing gesture of yours to other young people in and around your community.
Thank you for the question, and also basically went into it. We've always accommodated students, but we never really focused on females. And I looked at the amount of emails and DMs that I received on social media. Majority were female, young aspiring farmers who are doing the third year or second year who need to do the integrated learning. So I saw that there was a gap and there was a need for it, but a lot of people were not keen to open up their farms, especially to females. And I found that I had the privilege of having my grandfather and my father have farms, and it made it easier for me to actually fulfill my dream. But not everyone has that opportunity and the privilege. So that's when I actually decided to change the whole student program and only especially cater it and especially tailor it for females that want to go into agriculture or need to do the integrated learning. Because can you imagine not being able to graduate because you need to do integrated learning? So for me, I felt that this is just me doing the Lord and just paying it forward, and assisting.
Absolutely.
And I believe that we rise by lifting the next person up. So that's why we took it upon ourselves to accommodate these females, and it's all funded from our pockets. And we just wanted to, and I always say to them that you thanking me is by you passing on the knowledge and the experience to the next farmer.
That's absolutely amazing. So, am I hearing you correctly when you say that you've decided to help these young students in their integrated learning by opening up your farm to give them the necessary skills? If that is so, then where are you located, and how do people then get in touch with you, young women, to ask for this opportunity?
So we are located in Heidelberg, in Gauteng. It's opposite Rotunda Township. So how we basically do it is an email which we've created for everyone who's interested to actually send their emails. And we go through a very strict application process where we vet them, and we ask for things like your ID, your results, your letter from your school. And currently I only take 2 at a time because of my capacity and the time. And at least when it's a smaller group, it's easier to manage. But obviously, as time goes, we plan on actually expanding and being able to take more students on. So currently, what they can do is they can send an email to Yende and Partners at gmail.com with the necessary documents, or just send an email of what they're looking into doing. Like currently, we have 2 students. One just left. She was there for 6 months. She was doing animal production, and we still have one that is still with us for 18 months. She is doing farm management, and they're from different institutions. So they also went through the same process. And I think it's a fair process because so many entries, and we look at the results, we look at your background, we look at what is required, and if your module is in line with us, so that also you don't feel disadvantaged in any way, in a sense that maybe what we do is not aligned with what you need to do, then your time is wasted. So we rather look into the modules, and luckily so far the 2 students that we have currently also are in line with us.
Okay, so you indicated the one spent 2 months there. doing animal farming, learning animal farming. The second student is going to be with you for 18 months. Do you actually house them? Do they get full board and lodge while they're with you? And does it cost them anything to spend this time with you on the farm?
So basically, the other one, as I mentioned, one was here for 6 months. The other was here is still here for 18 months. We decided that we would accommodate them at our farm because we do have an extra accommodation to actually accommodate them, and we looked into the safety part of things. That it's a long gravel road and it's very quiet. We wouldn't want the ladies, because sometimes they finish late. What happens to these girls now? They become vulnerable and they become endangered. So we decided that we would rather take on the risk of accommodating them on our farm, so that they can stay there, so that even if they knock off later or they need to start earlier, they don't need to spend also on transport costs and to actually walk, because it's a gravel. In order to get public transport, you need to walk till the end of the gravel road, which takes about 10 minutes to actually get off the gravel road. So we decided that let's accommodate them here. And basically what they need to do is literally just bring their own food and their own bedding, but we provide the accommodation at the moment, because we just looked at already these girls need the experience, and we don't want them to actually spend more on transport as well as accommodation. We wanted to see how we can meet them halfway, into also realizing their dreams. So hence I said that we felt like we are also paying it forward, and especially because it's coming from our own pockets.
So clearly, it must be people that want to or are studying in the field of agriculture, etc., because you can't be wasting your time and their time. Just for them coming onto the farm and learning a skill that they're not going to be utilizing sometime in the future. So you've got to create that balance.
Correct. And that's why we've become very strict in actually selecting them. And we wanted someone who can adapt and adjust. That even if you're here for animal production, if we're deciding that today we are planting maize or we are planting butternut, you need to be versatile and be able. So luckily we've gotten students that are hungry for that knowledge and who are always willing to help and never complain or always come up with different solutions. They add value to us also. So hence also we've noticed it, because on our farm we don't have water at all. So they looked at the bigger picture that water, yes, we need water for everything, but that is just a small hinder. They looked at the long-term goal that actually if I stick it out here, I'm able to graduate and continue with my life. The water story, I can always solve it, and we do have water in a sense that we store it in JoJo tanks, and we fill the other different tanks, So we try to give them the water, but we do not have that luxury of running water, because since our borehole pump and motor was stolen, but we've learned to live around it. So we want somebody who understands and knows why they're there, and not look at, oh, there's no water here. Oh, how am I going to survive here? Or, but we try and make it as homely as possible, because some of them come from far. Like the one is from Mthatha, the other one came from the University of Mpumalanga. So can you imagine how far the girls have to come, but that's when we saw the seriousness in them, that they were willing to overlook everything else.
Do they get accredited for the time spent on the farm by you and the university or technicon that they're studying at? Because that is a very big factor, is it not?
Mm. No, 100% it is. And that's when we noticed that when we opened our farm, when we first did allowing the students to come do their integrated learning, we were just doing it so that we just get the experience and exposure. But then when we decided that, we're actually in the process of getting it accredited, and we wanted to give them even more value, because when the universities also approached us and they saw the work and the experience that we've had in the agricultural field, they were not so fussy, but we wanted to give these girls a certificate with value, so that even if they leave here, it is recognized. So currently we are busy getting it accredited, and that's why also we've in a way paused a little with the intake for the rest of the year, so that at least we can just get this accredited, and the girls we can send those that are done their certificates that are already accredited, so that they can use it elsewhere. So that's when we saw also, when we were doing it, we opened our farm as just, okay, let's just get the experience, just get the exposure. But until we saw demand for it and how the impact that it has on these girls, we decided to also just formalize everything so that they can benefit from it.
Wow. Okay, we have a comment from a listener, and that is Taz Sitole saying, wow, mashallah, very, very inspiring indeed. I think you're a Wonder Woman, really. I just am so blown away by what you're telling us this morning, Hlobisile. Let's now talk. Where do you find the time to do all of this? Because you're also busy with you've written that book. Tell us a little bit about the book and why it's important.
Um, so I don't even know how I juggle everything in all honesty, but because farming is a passion and it's something I love, I make the time for it. And it's so funny how the way the book came about. I never in a million years thought I would write, especially a kiddie book. But I based this book because I realized that our kids are not reading. Our kids are illiterate and they do not want to actually um take the time to learn. They want everything to be want to be spoon fed, you know. And I thought that we are living in a state that we are in a food insecurity. So we need to teach kids from as young as 4 years old how to produce their own food so that if we get into a state where you do not have food, at least you have your little garden, you know how to produce your own food. And that's why I wrote a non-fiction book because I looked at my son's experience. He's 4 years old and he loves being on the farm and he was brought us planting and he now values his veggies and his meat, etc. And when I teach him something, he knew and understood it and grasped it, you know. So that's when I thought that if a 4-year-old can actually understand this, then this is what we need. And I've looked around and I could not find books that actually accommodated, especially kids that from the ages of 4 and who educates. Because the book also, the first one is more of a, because I wanted to do, I'm actually going to do a series. So this is an introductory to agriculture to say that where do you get your meat? You get your meat from cows. What does the cow? What do you benefit from the meat? You benefit. You get the protein. What does protein do for you? You know, and what does when you get your milk? It gives you calcium, so it gives you strong bones. So I tried to make it an interesting one and to educate the kids in that manner. And that's why also I made it friendly for parents also. So when you're reading, you also learning to a point where I noticed that a lot of parents also don't know about the difference between a mutton and a lamb stew, you know, but they always go to the thing with my mom and she says like, please buy a mutton stew, not a lamb stew. I'm like, but it's the same thing. But
Mm.
I wanted to make it interesting for you who's reading so that you are also getting educated. And I've also, so what I did is I made sure also the lingo is in line with the school curriculum so that it's not foreign to the kids, you know. And I'm
Mm.
in the process, I'm actually speaking to Blind SA to get it into Braille also. And also I'm speaking to somebody from the sign language department to translate the book into sign language because our goal was to get it translated into 11 official languages. And now since sign language has been added, we wanted to include everybody that as long as you have your hands, you can produce anything and you'll never go hungry.
Wow. When will the book be available on sale and where? Will it be at all major bookstores?
So the book currently, we've had a few copies being already printed, and we are just almost because we saw that there was a demand and people wanted the book urgently. So some of it we also in process with speaking to other bookstores to actually get it into the stores. But currently, we're just finalizing with the publishers and to get it published fully so that we can actually get it at your exclusive books and will also be available on the website, which we have built. We also updating and it's under maintenance. So we're so busy integrating everything. So when the book is ready, we will put out all the information on social media as well as on the website. They will have all the details, even with regards to the delivery options.
Oh, good on you, and best of luck on the book and your future books and the amazing young people that come through your integrated learning experience on the farm. I see you started out, my final question to you is you started out in the year 2014. So, how many young people have been through this program on the farm?
So what I can actually, from me, I've had a one-on-one with especially two students, right, with female students. Before it was only males, which they were actually under the guidance of my father. But that's
Ah,
when I realized that, you know what, it was never formalized. So when I took over, I wanted to make sure that we are formalizing this and we take it seriously, not just you just follow us, you just shadow us, but I wanted it to be very serious. So all the others, I just hopped in here and there with my father. But then when I saw that there's a need for females, that's when I jumped in and I just said, you know what, from now on, the student program will only accommodate female students because there are many programs and many farms that open up to males but not females. So that's when we changed the whole game and we made sure that we are now making it accessible to them. And that's when I started with the first cohort of the 2 students, of the female students, because we've had previously other students. We've probably had, if I'm not mistaken, about 4 actually. 4. And one is actually she's not actually a student, but she needed to do her, some of her practicals on her farm. And now today she actually supplies, she's a grower for Pick and Pay for green peppers.
Wow. Wow.
So we've had a few students, but it was never formalized. So when I took it over, that's when I formalized it. We have a badge. We basically have uniform for it. We are now getting it accredited. We are now taking it seriously and accommodating more females because they needed more. I mean, males don't struggle as much as we do. So that's when I was just like, let's just accommodate females for now. If we have the capacity to also accommodate males, let's make females the priority because we want to take up space and to also change the face of agriculture.
And may you grow from strength to strength. And I do hope that other farmers and other people listening into us this morning start replicating your model. And I'm sure that you wouldn't mind sharing how you go about doing it, because this is what we need. We need to create interest in agriculture, in the agricultural sciences. We need to, and by so doing, create lots and lots of employment, because that is what the country sorely needs. Wonderful talking with you. May you continue growing from strength to strength. God bless and take care.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
That was Hlobisile Bathabile Yende, talking to us about this amazing venture that she and her family has embarked on. So if you're interested, just reach out and make contact, and hopefully you can become a part of a similar program, not necessarily on her farm, but I should imagine there are lots of other people that would allow you the opportunity. It's 10 after 10, news and views wrapping up this morning. Thank you indeed for your company. Till tomorrow morning, the same time as always, it is Assalamu alaikum and Khuda Hafiz from me, Julie Ali.